Good morning. Today I wanted to talk about how to let me explain. That'll do. You see, over the last few weeks, a lot of my friends have started calling me and saying, yeah, so we're thinking about coming over for a visit. Like I have some friends here at the moment, and then my mate Ben is hopefully coming in July. My mum's coming in August with my dad, and God knows who else shows up in between then. So I've been giving out a lot of advice to them about what to do when they get here, where they can stay, and what sort of things they need to think about. Because, you know, I have to work. I can't just take weeks and weeks off at a time. So a lot of the time they'll be just sort of looking after themselves. So I thought to myself, well, why don't I just do a vlog on how to visit rural France? And then all the information will be in one spot for them. And you guys, of course. So I suppose to start off with, my advice is, well, the first step is getting here. Now my advice if you're flying in is try and avoid landing in Paris. Unless of course you're visiting Paris. If you want to visit Paris, land in Paris. We're not talking about Paris today, we're talking about rural France. It's really stiff. And if you want to visit rural France, well, it's a ways away from Paris. See, France, as you may or may not know, is split up into departments. And our department, where we all live, is about 6 or 7 hours south of Paris. So if you've been watching the videos and you think, I'd like to go to where Brian lives, don't land in Paris, because it's a long drive. And for rural France, maybe a different airport would be better than Paris. You know, somewhere like Toulouse or Bordeaux or Poitiers or somewhere. Yeah, Poitiers could work as well. Anyway, it doesn't matter where you land. The main thing is you're here now and you're heading to rural France. What's the first thing you need? A car. Hire a car. Like the French train system is very good when it works. But there is, more often than not, delays and strikes fairly regularly. So you don't want to be depending on it to get yourself around the place. You're much better off, especially if you're coming to where we are, which is in the middle of nowhere, hiring a car. And that way, you'll be able to get all over the countryside at your own leisure. Second thing you're going to need is somewhere to stay. Now, conventional wisdom would say, well, I'll just get an Airbnb. But if you figure out where you're going, have a look in that town for little hotels. See, most towns in rural France are dotted with little hotels and bed and breakfasts, and a lot of them have a little restaurant either on the premises or right beside it, so you can get your room and a bit of a meal. In fact, there's one just over there. I'm not staying there tonight. I'm in this town to meet some friends for lunch, but you get my meaning. Right, so that's the car and the hotel sorted. Now what? Well, now you gotta find something to do. Sorry about the lorries, there's loads of them in this town. So every town half worth its salt in rural France will have a tourist office. Not a very big one, but they'll have a tourist office. And they'll have a list of all the events that are happening in or around that town over the course of the summer. They tend to all have 2 to 3 month programs of events. So get yourself in there and get a list of what's going on and where. Because the tourist office will have a thing where they'll tell you what's going on in that particular town, but they'll also tell you what's going on around the area, and that's really useful. Another good place to look is a website called, what's it called? Gebrack or something like that. Oh yeah, it's called brocabrac.fr. I'll put a link in the description of the video. It's basically a website you can go onto and you type in where you are or where you want to go, and it'll tell you a list of all the like Vide-maisons that are happening, or Vide-greniers, or if there's a festival on or something like that, and it'll give you like a date range of what's on when and where it is. And that's a really cool one because you can find all sorts in there. The thing about rural France is, yeah, we have the internet, but it's sort of in existence, not something people use as an everyday tool for commerce, shall we say. So like, you know, take hotels for example. So like, you know the way you go into Google Maps and you see a restaurant and you click on the restaurant and it'll tell you the restaurant's opening hours. That's sort of more guidelines here in rural France than actuality. And some restaurants, some of the best restaurants, aren't even on Google Maps. So it's worth your while doing a bit of hunting around locally, tourist office, stuff like that, seeing what's going on. And then once you get all that sorted, you can go for a nice lunch and sit in a nice terrace in the sun, drinking coffee. Now, much as I would like to sit around drinking coffee all day, and that's probably what the other two think I do when I'm out at the chateau, I do actually have a problem I need to nip in the bud before it becomes a problem. And that problem's a fence. Now the problem's not the fence at the moment. The problem is what happens to the fence when animals come back in here and start leaning on it to break it. Now behind me, behind you I should say, is my garden. It's my back garden and I don't use it at all. So it's just sort of a space. But what is in the garden is a septic tank, and I do need to make sure nothing breaks through that fence and onto that septic tank, because that'd be really bad for everyone involved. So I got to do a bit of strimming, clear that off. That way when animals come back in here, they don't get near the fence, they don't break my septic tank. Everyone's a winner, except me, who has to trim it all back now. That's that fence line cleared all the way around the back garden. So when I come to turn the electric on, hopefully the cows will get a bang. And believe me, it's a bang. If you've ever gotten a bang off an electric fence, you'll know all about it. But I gotta go cook dinner for my guests who are now coming back. So I'm gonna finish the vlog there and say thank you very much for watching. I hope it was of some use, and I'll see you next time.